Okay, Tuesday night. Got kind of an update, something kind of unexpected. I noticed today that I have a full 5G signal. I've been bragging that here I always have a full, all bars 4G signal for the longest time. I guess they just extended the range here and I have a full 5G signal. I did a speed test and it doesn't seem like it's any faster. I'm not a technical person, but it seems to me that 5G is not any faster. It just have access to other bands. So that's what I've noticed. I've done things on 5G and it doesn't seem to be any faster than 4G, but it doesn't need to be faster. It just needs to allow me to do this in 1080p. So what you guys are probably seeing is at 720, but so be it. One day it'll be available and we're going to keep on keeping on until then. So it's been a few days since painting and I got to remember where the hell I left off at. I know we were working on these spearmen. I know that in the last 4 days or so, 3 days, I have had an extreme lack of energy. I've just been extremely sleepy. I don't feel bad or anything, just lack of, and there you are, Joe. Just really, really sluggish. I've never felt this before in my life. So, anyhow, I haven't slept a lot, but you know, sleeping is a waste of time. So, all right, I got to figure out where the hell I left off here. So, bear with me a little bit and see if we can put this into place. Well, I don't stick my big fat head in the way. And yeah. And if you guys are watching the video and you haven't seen about our gaming session last night and you weren't there, then you have no excuse. You should go watch it. Joe, you probably haven't seen it either, but all you got to do is watch the intro. The rest of it you were there for. Of course, if you want to see how I did after you were gone, you could do that as well, but you can always catch that. Okay, anyhow. All right, so we were working on these spear dudes, and his tunic is done. His tunic is done. His tunic is done. His tunic is done. Okay, so we got belts. We got this plate and stuff that we're going to do around his... oh, we got his helmet to do, of course. Okay. All right, so let's get some metal out here. Let's get the whatever the hell this stuff's called. Lead belcher. Good name for a BattleTech mech. All right, let's see. Let's look at the brushes where we're at these days. We don't need to do something super detailed, so that one will work just fine. Let's come in here and... So I had originally bought this stuff here to thin down, the Airbrush Thinner, to thin down to do the transfer from the Games Workshop bottles. I did that, and what I ended up getting is a waste of my time, because the whole reason I was transferring it was this was getting a lot of buildup. These Games Workshop seal, getting a good seal. Now look what I've got with this thing. Now I've got a lot of buildup on this thing. So it's like, you know, you can't win for losing. So I won't be transferring any more paints over. It's just not worth my time. So, but I did discover this airbrush thinner that I would not have bought otherwise. And I don't know that it's been a godsend, but it certainly has made some aspects of the painting a lot more pleasurable. So we're just going to go ahead and paint his entire helmet in this color. This would be the darkest shade of the metallics. There's lighter shades than that, but this is the darkest one. And then we're gonna non-oil this joker when we're done. And we might as well paint the spearhead as well while we're here. Okay, and he's got the plate on his shin guards. I'm gonna paint those as well. Okay, set this guy off to the side. Yeah. There were 3 people online, now there's only 1. Maybe I just ran them all off. Oh, there's a new video? Oh, let me go check that out. Well, if you guys were subscribed, you would know that. You get notified immediately when a new video gets uploaded. I'm subscribed to other people. Doesn't mean I watch their videos frequently. I gotta play catch up on several people. One of the guys I'm subscribed to that I used to watch all the time, this guy called the Terrain Tutor. And he's some guy in the UK. He's got a lot of energy. And he, I believe, quit his job to do hobby stuff full time. At least that's what he says. But I hadn't seen anything from him in a long time. And I just see that he was back or whatever. So maybe he took a break to, he got tired of starving. He needed to go back to his real job. You know, I don't think there's many people that can do your hobby for a living, or the kind of living that they have is not one I wouldn't necessarily call it living. So, but I hadn't watched his videos in a long time. I don't think he has anything new, but that's the problem is when you make your own videos, especially if you're doing stuff like this, where this isn't really making a video. You guys are just kind of watching me putz around and you know, verbal diarrhea and stuff like that, just to me rambling on. This is really for me painting, but when I'm doing this, I'm not watching someone else's videos, so I'm not really finding out what's going on with the other people I'm subscribed to. Apologize, I need to catch up to those people. There's some folks out there that do that I need to play catch up with, but I don't know when the hell I'm going to get a chance to do that. But let's see if we can wake my ass up a little bit. I got about an hour before I got to go pick up the daughter from swim. So let's see what we can knock out in an hour. Okay, this guy here. Make sure that's up. Okay, cool. Yes, if you guys are interested in elephants, go check out the video when we're done here. Yeah, uploaded today. With elephants running around all over the place. And of course, we're not talking about real elephants. We're talking about Debellus antiquitatis. Okay, that's the third one. The problem with doing this method is I invariably end up missing something, but it's not a big deal. I can always go back to it later. It's just, you know, I want it to go off. I want it to be done right. So it's a little frustrating when you're like, oh shit, I forgot that shin guard or something like that. So, and that tends to happen. Time to paint a second elephant. No, I don't think that would have helped the first game. I don't think it would have helped the first game. Sometimes, you know, things are just gonna. If you're gonna get your ass beat, might as well make it quick. I didn't do well because I didn't have my Irish whiskey or my Irish army. I paint another elephant for that army. I've got to redo the whole army, which I got to redo the basing, not redo the whole army. I can get the ground color right. What I can't do, I ever painted, the one I used, my Rajputs. They were the fourth army I ever painted. And the first 5, 6, or 7 armies that I ever did, instead of using the Liquitex stuff that I used, I didn't know about it yet. I would mix up regular sand. I think I got it from work. We have a ton of sand. You don't need very much sand for this, and just Elmer's glue, and just created like a paste, and applied it. You got to remember that's it's been probably 13, probably 13 years since I used something other than the Liquitex. So yeah, I'm not going to go back to that. And I don't like it as much because it takes longer to dry, and it doesn't have as much. It's smoother looking. It doesn't have as much. It's not as gritty, so it doesn't take the dry brushing as well. So we're not going to go back to that method, but I'm not opposed to rebasing. I'm not opposed to rebasing that army and building another elephant, but I can't get sidetracked by, you know, I'm doing Hungarians and I'm not going to do anything else until I'm done enough of these guys. And it's not very exciting to go back and redo an army that I've already done, so to speak. So, although I do have other elephants for them, and I have a knight general I can do as well. You know how I love those knights, but it's just not. It's not exciting to do that. I would rather keep pushing forward instead of revisiting the past. Now I could probably rebase that army. It wouldn't take that long. And when I've rebased them, I reuse the same stands. I can get all that stuff off of the stands enough and put more of it on there. So it's not like you're throwing away the Litco stands. So they get repurposed. I repurposed my French ordnance that way. I use the same stands, put them right back on them. So, okay, let's check to make sure we didn't leave one of these. Aha, there you are, you son of a biscuit. I knew I was going to forget one of these greaves on here. Okay. I take it you've only seen that first game. It's another 4.5 hours or something like that of videos, so all in one stream. So there's lots to see there. Might take a few days to get through it all. Well, we did it all in one day. Why can't you guys watch it in one sitting? We did it in one day. I was done like at midnight, man. It's just exhausting. That's late for me. Midnight on a work day, on a work night. Okay. All right. Let's get these other spearmen out here. We don't want to do blue leggings because then it looks just like this one here, like the other spearmen. I want to mix it up a little bit. You cried after the first game. Well, I'm sorry. Why? You have nothing vested in it. Of DBA. I've won like over 950, but still, you know, after you lose about 200 games, you just don't even feel it anymore. It's just not even important. You know, the other guy's trying to win too. No big deal. Let's see what we got over here, color-wise. Green sky. Well, that's not very green. Let's try that. Let's try that color. I like to watch one game at a time. I have all week. Well, you think you do. Maybe you're not going to make it to the end of the week. Hey, I don't want to be morbid. I just want to be realistic. That's why people put a plate of food in front of me. I eat so quick. Somebody might take it away from me. I didn't get to eat it all. Some of this crusty stuff off the lid. And this too. This is one of these that was sitting on a shelf a long time before I bought it. I bet that's the. Yeah, you don't know how long. You don't know how long you have. We're on like day 220 of 15 days on the pandemic. I wish winter would hurry up and get here. This stupid heat is just asinine. Okay. All right, we got some green here. Let's get some black. Okay, not a whole lot of this showing, and it's just kind of the backside anyway, so. I think that my classic Indians would have had more of a chance with bow units. No, I don't think my bows they're just too, it would have all been different if I would have had an artillery piece. Hey, you never know. I mean, I just wanted to use an army I didn't have to morph. Could make any army if you fudge the figures, but I already had that army. I hadn't played them in a while, and hey, they're fine. I had 4 bows. Your classical Indians have 4 bows. You just have more elephants. Good stuff. I'll never build classical Indians. I know too many people that have them. I know too many people that have them. Getting mixed up by having too many figures at once. Stuff that never happens to you when you're painting one at a time. Okay, let's just roll right back into this guy. And add more of this. We're gonna have to get rid of this brush for now. We need something a little bit more precise. We need some more precision. Oh, this is the one that likes to split. Yeah, it's a good thing we got a group of guys playing every week because I don't know when the hell we're going to go back to having a convention. You just can't bank on that. It's just better not to worry about it. I don't think it's very likely that it's going to happen anytime soon. Meaning even early next year. Well, that just means there'll be more videos. If this COVID thing lasts another year, I might run out of lead. It'll last another year. If I had to put my bet on it, I don't see it. I don't see it ending. I don't see us ever going back to 2019. Against my wishes, I just don't see any. I don't see any interest in people of any side really to getting back to normal. So hope I'm wrong, but doesn't bother me. I'm not stressed out about it. It's just one of those things, and we're just gonna keep doing what we've been doing this year. So I just wish there was something to use my vacation days on. I'm not gonna take a day off just to take a day off. I just don't see it changing until lots of people that are out of work, etc., are fed up and do something about it. Whatever the hell that means. So. I think if the government's going to force you to shut down, then they should pay you to sit at home. And since they're not going to do that, then, we'll see. Just means more videos. Need the borders to open so I can work again. 1 year off shows me I don't want to retire. I do. Just tell me no more work. Yes, we'll film all the time. And I still won't run out of lead. I'm in no fear of running out of lead. Not happening. Okay. Right. Okay. Ah. Fish and war game. I'm ready to retire someday. There you go. Getting on to 1:30. Excellent. We'll see you. What day's tomorrow? Wednesday? I don't know if we'll see you tomorrow. It's so hard to count on me during the week. I've got other responsibilities during the week, so harder to avoid. I know that if it was not a work day, I would not be up at 1:30 though. I'm more likely to be up at 1:30 in the morning than stay up till 1:30. Neither one of those two would happen, but I'm just saying I'd much rather go to bed at 9, sleep a few hours, and wake up at 1:30 than wake up in the morning and stay all the way through. I'm not much of a night owl. I need coffee to function at that time, caffeine, and if I stay up till 1:30, that wouldn't be the time to do it. So, okay, we got the little bit of green on their leggings or whatever the hell these things are. Let's see, we got a belt. All right, we could probably do the Nuln oil now because we need to let that set a little bit. And I gotta go sparingly. I don't want this to drip on all the other stuff that I have. Darken it and start back. Lawrence Reville. Hopefully I said your name right. Your last name right. I know I said the Lawrence part right. I don't want to say people's names wrong. I'd rather commit other sins. Okay, we're just going to put this over. It's going to just add a little bit of a depth. It just has kind of an undershade. It's kind of like white. When you paint something white, you can't make it brighter than that white you just did. Same thing with this. If you paint something this darkest metallic color I have, you can't go any darker unless you do this. So you can add more depth in there, and it's all a trick anyway, so. Better known as Larry R. There you are. Now I know who you are. Larry, where are you from? You post a lot on Fanaticus. I'll be honest with you, I don't go on there as much as I used to. I used to go on there a lot, and it's too difficult to post pictures. So I've kind of, the Facebook groups have taken over from Fanaticus, mainly because it's just too difficult to post a picture. Like somebody will ask you something, and it's like, well, let me go post a picture. I've got to go. Normally, you'd go to a hosting service like PhotoBucket. You go on PhotoBucket, you put it, and then you could link your items, your gallery there, and put a link to it. But you can't do that anymore. They want you to spend real money for that. Well, I'm not gonna get my money's worth out of that, so I'm not really interested in it. That happened a couple of years ago, I think, and I'm not on there as much. And I'm not going to mention any names, but there's some folks on there that just they're not happy unless they're arguing constantly about the same thing, and it's not you. I'm not going to mention any names, but it's like, man, you should paint some and like get a life. To me, the rules I want to play the rules right, but the rules are an excuse to socialize and paint figures. Okay, they're not. I don't give a shit about the rules, so. That doesn't mean we don't try to play them right, but I don't care how the sausage is made, so to speak. So I'm interested in playing with my figures and painting them and stuff like that. So, and I've just kind of given up. We're gonna try to play the rules the best we can, and I try to find some consensus with the fact group, but they only meet once a year, and you'll bring something up and you can't come to a decision, and it's like, fuck it, we'll play it what works for us, and we'll rationalize it as best as we can, because no matter if you don't have to play the way we play, but we also don't need to sit there and try to arbitrate with somebody else that we don't get a definitive answer on. Tony, is it still hot down there? Yes, I'm ready to move to Nebraska. I'm ready to move to Nebraska. Not about Nebraska. Right outside Gettysburg, and agree with posting there. Yeah. Okay. So outside Gettysburg. So you make it to Historicon. I would hope. I certainly would. We're already signed up to go next year, but I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to any conventions. I'm planning on going to all conventions as soon as they open up, but I'm not holding my breath when they're going to open up, and I'm not going to give away any of my 2019 freedoms again. So the stuff I was able to do in 2019, I'm going to be allowed to do that stuff, or I'm not going to go to conventions. I'm not going to. I don't put up with bullshit on my days off, so that's fine. We'll just. I'm not worried about it. I'm getting a lot more painting done during this year than any other year, and this is part of it. And interacting with people all over the world, and I, I, what pandemic? You know, you do. Okay, excellent. Totally agree. Yeah. So I'm not going to start a revolution or anything, but I don't. I avoid problems on my day off. I see something I don't like over there. I don't go over there. I go the other way. So I don't get paid enough to on my. Somebody said to me, and I keep bringing this up, and I don't know where it was. Was it on I think it was on vacation, or it might have been on a cruise or something like that. Remember those things, cruises? It's a good thing I went on plenty of them because who knows when we'll have another one. But anyhow, they said, Tony, you're always in a good mood. And I said, well, I'm only upset when I'm getting paid. So I can avoid problems when I'm not at work. So I'm kind of a fixer what I do. So I don't want anything to fix when I'm not at work. Fixer, I don't know. Maybe somebody that can make decisions. Let's see what we did for. What did we do for the sidearms of these guys? I don't want to use exactly the same color. This was kind of a standard brown. So I don't mind doing one that has a little bit of red brown in it. This is marron caoba, mahogany brown. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Does it bother you when playing DBA that all pike are rated the same or that all knights are the same? No. No, because it's not. Because this isn't my period. What I mean is, I'm a World War II guy. That doesn't mean I don't care about this period. I love this medieval stuff. I couldn't play a World War II game that way. I do that and that. Like I could never play Flames of War. Here, I justify it because it's just a game to paint with figures. But let's just say if I ever get around to doing my Renaissance, that my Renaissance rules to come up to a more modern version of the Renaissance rules, there will not be, all knights won't be the same. They may not be a huge difference, but French knights will be different than Spanish knights, etc. So, may not be huge, but no, it doesn't bother me that much because with 3.0, I couldn't go back and play 2.2. I couldn't play a game where an auxilia with 4 figures on it behaves the same as one with 3. It just, no, I'm not going back to that. But I did for many years, and I just dealt with it, But yeah, it's okay if it bothers you. I think the game could be more complicated in the standpoint of how troops behave, like differences between troops. It could handle being that complicated. What it needs to be streamlined is the contacting and conforming. The contacting and conforming is just too abstract and just blows your mind. People can handle another +1, or they can handle versus the knight, that one knight, but not all the same. I don't know if that makes any sense, but people can handle that because that's easy to understand from versus the knight, that one knight, but not all the same. I don't know if that makes any sense, but people can handle that because that's easy to understand from a gamer standpoint. The first thing you learn in DBA is what units factors are. That's easy. You'll know that after playing it once. What's difficult to understand is the whole conforming lining up business. That really needs to be, oop, hey, look at that, I made a boo-boo. That really needs to be streamlined, people, because a lot of people are turned off by that. And I know as a relatively new player to these type of WRG basing type games, relatively new player. I've been doing it for 20 years, but anyhow, that's the hard thing to wrap around. If I was going to design a game that that used this kind of stuff, the first thing I would do is I would eliminate anything where I would have to resort to, well, I know it doesn't make any sense, but that's how the author wrote the rules. Anything like that is out because you can't justify it. You know, I'm not worried about page count in the rules. I'd be worried about a set of rules that doesn't have enough examples so people can follow along. So that's my long-winded way of answering your questions. No, it doesn't bother me because I take these special pills that kind of makes me look the other way, but you get over it. You know, it's when you realize that every game you've played, I've played almost 2,000 games of DBA, and I've only not finished two. And that speaks volumes for what its strength really is. So I don't have a tolerance for playing a game where it doesn't finish. Well, if we would have played another 4 hours, then this would have, no, the game's over. Somebody walks with their head in shame, and somebody else is triumphant. So no, it doesn't bother me, but it's okay that it does bother you. It's all right. I get it. That is definitely something that I would seek to improve if I was going to make a period adaptation for this game. Yeah, I couldn't do World War II stuff like that. They make like a World War II version of DBA or a naval version too. Oh no, I'm a rivet counter. No, hell with you, sacrilege. Burn that guy at the stake. Okay. Yeah, this is the first game I've played that's this abstract, and it's really weird the things that have cropped up because of the abstractness of the game. It makes it more playable from the standpoint as you can finish every game, but it's hard to walk away from it and feel like you actually did some tactics that felt like you learned about the period that you were playing. It makes it sound like I'm kind of knocking the game, but it's a great game, but it is just a game. I don't feel like when I walk away from some cavalry battle, I feel like I've outmaneuvered somebody. And a perfect example I'll give you is Mongols. If you build a Mongol army in DBA and you manage to win with them, you don't walk away walking feeling like you learned something about Mongol tactics. It just doesn't translate well. Hoplite Greeks would be better, or the war bands and the Romans would be better, but light horsemen are not, or light horse of any kind. I don't think are represented well in DBA unless they're fighting knights or something like that. But you just learn to live with it. Like, okay, well, I'll just have to deal with this because at least there's lots of people that play this game, or at least it doesn't take me a long time to paint this army, or at least there's lots of armies to build. And, if I get tired of these guys, I can build somebody else relatively quick, or I could find people all over the world that play this game. So it's got a lot of pluses, you know, but, you know, it's not all, it's not all a perfect system by any means. I think the scale of the game is right. I think the amount of time that each battle takes is right. the interaction between the phasing player and the not non-phasing player is excellent. You know, nobody can go into combat without the other player also rolling a roll. You know, the comparing opposing rolls. The pip system is excellent. You know, I don't want to play games where I can move everybody that I want all the time. I want those problems where your little knuckleheads don't listen to you. And I want my opponent to have the same problems too. It's not like I'm a sadist that I'm the only one that wants to have them. What else? Yeah, I think it could use more detail. Probably the thing that's probably the most lame is there's no way to use the Romans in the checkerboard formation. So, you know, I wish there was a way to do the Romans in a checkerboard formation. But you know, you can try those things out by doing, you know, putting together like a battle of a historical battle using DBA, and then using the special rules for that, and then you know, kind of use that as kind of a test bed. So, be back. Gotta eat. Absolutely. Late. That's a late eating. I eat at 5. My normal eating times are 5 a.m., 11 a.m., and 5 p.m. or or earlier. Games need tough choices. They do. They do, unfortunately. I wish the game had more detail, but I've played so many games that you don't finish, you know. And I actually like the fact that I can turn around and play Romans, and then like I'm tired of painting Romans. I want to paint medieval knights, and I'm tired of painting medieval knights, so I want to paint some Chinese troops. And I'm tired of painting those guys, so let me paint some, you know, that kind of thing. You can switch from one thing to the other. Somebody asked me the other day, am I more of a painter than a gamer? And I guess I'm more of a painter. That doesn't mean I don't play games, but when I was done painting my Irish, which took me like 2 months. That was record time for me. I wasn't that interested in playing them. That doesn't mean I don't want to play them. It's just that, you know, by the time I'm done painting them, I've spent hundreds of hours looking at those sons of bitches, and I don't want to see them anymore. You know? Yeah. I mean, I've played games with armies that are, I don't know that they were unpainted, but they were painted really poorly. And I had just as much fun. So playing with an army that I painted exquisitely, it doesn't make the game any more fun. I know that sounds strange, but that's just kind of the reality of it. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop painting or have somebody else paint my stuff. And God forbid, there's not enough painters of us as it is. But it is about the interacting with other people on the tabletop. So, got more stuff here. Yeah, 1 hour games are great. Too old to sit there for 4 hours playing a game. The 4 hours is okay, but if you're entertained, I played a game a couple of years ago, and I say a couple of years ago, it might have actually been 7. But it's a game called Here I Stand. It's a game by I think it's GMT, and it's Renaissance time period, early Renaissance, and you have different players play the role of Spain, Holy Roman Empire, France, Henry VIII, the Protestants, the Ottoman Turks, that kind of thing. We played for like 10 hours. I wasn't bored for a second. I wasn't bored for a second. But you know, you need to have 5 or 6 people to play that game. You need to have the space to have it set up, and it's just not very practical. So it is a little too strategic of a game for me. I'm a tactics guy. I know I've said this before. I'm not a. I like tactics. You know, I play DBA a lot, and I don't really go in with a plan. I don't have this preconceived plan where, oh, this is what we're going to do. If we're going to counter, we're going to. I just kind of wing it because you never know what you're going to roll for pit. That's why I don't like. People always said, "Hey, why don't you do big battle?" I hate big battle DBA. Why do I hate Big Battle DBA? Because it involves having a plan and building commands, and then you roll shit for pips, and then your plans go to crap, and then you deploy guys and they're in a different place than you wanted to, and you spend all this time planning. It reminds me of what I have to do at work. You got to do all this planning, and then somebody shows up at the wrong time, and it's like, no. Now the game's not paying me enough for it. So it just doesn't fit my personality type. Now, I like the camaraderie, so I don't mind playing a big battle game like Don Harding does, where he'll put multiple people on a side, all with their individual DBA armies, and you can kind of have a plan when you're setting it up, but plan things in advance for no. No, this is supposed to be enjoyable. It doesn't it doesn't appeal to me. Now there's some people that may like to plan. Just like there's some people that would rather not drive and hop on an Uber. I would rather drive and see where I'm going to go on a map, and that's what I like to do. I don't, so there's no right or wrong answer. We're just all different, So the trials and tribulations that I do for a living, that by the way I've done for over 26 years at the same place. So I don't. I'm really against anything that gives me that kind of reaction, because for the most part, I'm not thinking about work when I'm not there, and that's why I haven't gone off the deep end. You kick ass when you're there, and then when you're not there, there's nothing you could do about it. So you unclench. So okay, we got that little bit on there. Now let's go mix up some gray, because that's what we've been doing for. Oh, we need to go ahead and do the. Let's do the pommel in the same color here. They have a shorter base game coming up based on that system. Okay. I like it because I feel like you're playing the history. And that's what I like about historical gaming, is because it makes me want to play a historical thing, and then I go and read about it, you know. Um, you know, it's fun learning. I'd rather learn about real history than whatever fluff Games Workshop decides to write up these days. Just never got into that. I actually tried to get into two games that Games Workshop did, and the same thing happened to me in both of them. By the time they came out and heard about them, they discontinued both games right under my nose. One of them was Dark Future, and the other one was what was it called? The one was the fantasy sailing ships. Anyhow, it looked really cool, right? And anything they put together in their darn magazine looks great. They got good painters, but they just continue stuff after like no freaking time. And I'm like, Man of War. That's low I paint. I don't want to like spend all this. Forget the money. I don't want to invest all this time and doing something, and then the Games Workshop guys just say, "Yeah, we don't want people to play it anymore. We're not going to support it." Well, fuck you. I want my painting time back then, pal. That doesn't work for me. So, if they stopped making DBA 3.0, we'd still play with these figures. We would either still play it, or we would make our own version, but we're not going to stop using these figures that we spent thousands of hours putting together. It's just not going to happen. I mean, so, or it looked great. It looked like you could have a lot of laughs with it, and that's a big appeal to me in games. I play them seriously, and I'll give you an example. I never played any fantasy as an adult. And obviously, we all did Dungeons and Dragons when I was in the boys' club when I was 13 or 14 years old, 12, 13, 14. But I really didn't do anything like that until maybe 10 years ago. This guy that I know put together, what's the game they just released? The dungeon crawl game that they re-released. Oh, I don't remember what it is. They just re-released it in Warhammer Quest, something Quest, Dungeon Quest, not Dungeon Quest. I think it's called Warhammer Quest. Anyways, it had all the pieces, and he had them all painted up and get all little characters and everything. And I think he did characters randomly assigned. And I got a dwarf. I've never played a dwarf in my life ever. And what I mean by that is the only other fantasy gaming I play is like stuff like Diablo 2, Diablo 3. Oh, I played the living hell out of those things. Titan's Quest, love that stuff. Okay, I don't mind fantasy stuff if it's a treasure hunt. Okay. But as far as like face-to-face miniatures, no, not really anything like that. But yeah, so we played Dungeon Quest or whatever the hell it's called. I get a dwarf, and I have a freaking blast because all of a sudden the enjoyment is crazy stuff that happens, and I'm making fun of my character. Everything's about how he needs a step stool to reach everything, and how he's drunk off his ass, and and the size of his third leg. That's everything. That's the character that I brought to it, and I had a hell of a great time playing it. And so I could see playing fantasy with that kind of stuff, but I really haven't been exposed to much of it other than Diablo type games like that, which are really good because you just you press a button, you can get rolling. It's not like you've got to spend all this time doing all that, but anyhow, Warhammer Quest, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Was there a Dungeon Quest also? I'm sure that there was something like that. But and they have that for my phone. I have it for my phone too, and it looks pretty good. I mean, it's not the same as interacting with other people, but it's turn-based and stuff like that. I think it's Warhammer Quest, but I have it for my phone. So my phone doesn't. I don't have an Apple phone, so which explains why I'm able to film this. Because if I had an Apple phone, I wouldn't even know how to turn the damn thing on. But the Androids, we don't have good games on our phones. So, but that's just as well. We're you can have too many games that keep you from doing other stuff. So I've got an Xbox, and there aren't very many games that come in often that interest me. And I think that's a good thing because this is what I'm doing right now is what I really need to be doing. Anybody could sit down and play video games and that kind of stuff. I was I hadn't played in a while, and I decided to boot up, which is the game, the Assassin's Creed that's in Greece, which is a beautiful game. I mean, it's not realistic. Who cares? Okay, but it's a gorgeous game, and it took I think like less than 5 minutes for me to start yelling at the TV. I spawn into the game. I need to go over there to talk to somebody at a camp, and I trigger a wolf, and he's chasing me, and I bring the wolf into the camp where I need to talk to this other guy, and we deal with it. And then I'm being really careful because I don't want to, accidentally hit the guy I need to talk to, and then of course we can't. I can't go on the mission he's going to give me because we're out to kill each other, and he's going to end up being dead. That kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that happens in Grand Theft Auto too. You're minding your own business, and then oops, and then the next thing you got the whole city coming after you. But regardless, I was being real careful, and it still wasn't good enough. I walked up really close to him after the wolf was dead, and you got to press Y to talk to the guy. And at the same moment that I'm pressing Y to talk to him, the Y switches to an assassinate. So I ended up assassinating the guy. I'm like, okay, I reboot the damn games. Like, this is why I play miniatures, because I don't have things like that happen when I'm doing miniatures. So that was a nice reminder. It's like, just stick to painting, dude. Yeah, there was a Dungeon Quest originally published by Games Workshop and more recently Fantasy Flight Games. I can't keep them all straight. I can't keep them all straight. And then what was that one that Fantasy Flight had? It's the one that had so many freaking pieces. Descent? Yeah, like Descent. Lots of pieces. And that's the thing about video games, you can't play them wrong. Um, it's really frustrating for me to play things wrong, you know. So you boot something up and it doesn't let you do something. Hey, you can't do anything. You can't do it wrong because it's kind of keep assuming it's programmed correctly. All right, let's give this guy some shoes. I think we got time to give him some shoes, and we're going to use a lighter shade on them so that they pop just a little bit of a oomph. And I got my juices going. I got to go pick up my daughter. Damn it, meddling kids. No, it's very difficult for me to get any painting done Monday through Friday. Well, Monday it's not going to happen. That's game night. So this is kind of a little too green. That's not the color I meant. I meant to get this one. There we go. Yeah, it's hard to get stuff done Monday through Friday. And I've been super groggy. Just can't shake this sleepiness. Third edition of Descent. Yeah, that thing's got a lot of pieces. All I hear is it's like brutally difficult. Almost like what's that? Is Arkham Horror? Arkham Horror is brutally difficult. I played a couple games of that several years ago. I don't mind playing fantasy stuff as long as it doesn't have a mechanic that I hate in the game. What mechanic is that? Well, when I have to win, I'm just saying you're drawing characters and your character happens to be the dick. Okay? And your job is to backstab people the entire game. I don't like that. It's just, can I do it? Yeah, but now don't get me wrong. I'm like half Sicilian to the point problem paying people back in kind and then, with interest, but just for no reason. It's just I'm not. That's just not me. I don't want to. Or a game where you're playing a turncoat and you're the turncoat and you have to keep people from playing knowing that that's just too much effort. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. The fact it's fantasy, I'm fine with it. No problem. How close are you to your 2000th game of DBA? Like quite a bit away or like coming up in the next few months away? Do you have any thoughts on celebrating with special theme battle opponent army? Which army do you want to field in your 2000th battle? So there's two things going on, okay? There's a 2000th game of DBA and the 2000th game of face-to-face DBA. So the face-by-face DBA, I can tell you who I fought and what army I used and what the score was in almost every instance except some really, really early ones, maybe like six. I don't know what the score is, but I know whether I've lost them or not. That is probably 100 games off. Like if I play like a big battle DBA, like a scenario that somebody puts together, I count that as a game of DBA, even though it's not a standard DBA. I don't. I don't keep that on my spreadsheet because then you'd have to have a different category for, because normally what I do is I'll keep track of where I play, the date, where I played, what army I played, who my opponent played, who my opponent was, did he win terrain, did I win the battle, what the score was. That's the normal go-to, all the stuff I enter off each game. If I'm going to be tracking like a big battle DBA, well, now I've got to make a totally different categories for things I don't have very often. So I'm probably 25 games off of 2000 of all games of DBA, but I still have maybe about 100 to go on standard ones. So, am I going to do something special? Probably when Mitch and I play our 1000th game, which is it's probably about 100 away. We'll probably do far ahead. I am competitive, and I like keeping track of the stats just for for yucks. But you know, I've lost over 800 games, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, luckily I'm not upside down, but it's competitive to a point. But I hadn't thought that far ahead. But you know, I'm not gonna do like a ice bucket challenge or something like that. We'll do something. Maybe we'll do something. So it doesn't seem like 2,000 games is a lot of games, but I guess it is. Well, just to kind of put it into perspective, 2,000 games playing, right? And I probably spend 300 hours on a figure. I mean, on an army painting them. I'm just guessing. So I have spent as much time playing as I have painting the seven of my armies, and I've got 32 armies. So I've got much more time spent painting than I have playing, whatever the hell that means. But yeah, I don't have any of my armies that have over 100 games. I got some that are in the 60s and 70s. So I've gotten some. I still have spent a lot more time painting them than I have playing. But this is therapy. This is this is good stuff right here. But hopefully, from now on, we don't play any more games that I don't film. My new phone has kicked ass. It's doing what it's supposed to do. The fact that it's got 16 gigs of RAM instead of 4 that I originally had makes a big difference. It's not jamming on me, and I'm a little hesitant to making the videos more complicated than they have been because I don't want them to spend a ton of time. We'll call it processing, even though the phone calls it exporting. Exporting should be like when you send it up to YouTube, what it is, but that's apparently not what it is. And in phone speak, exporting is the okay. This is what I want. Start crunching it together so it can be sent off. That's the problem area. That's been the problem area in the past. So. Do any of your 60 to 70 play armies show anywhere on the figures? A little bit, only on like the edge of, like they've got javelins, only on the edge. Nothing I couldn't fix up. But no, not really. Oh, one army got into a car accident. My Tang Chinese, I fell asleep on one of my trips back from Historicon after my plane got in late and trashed my car in 2007 or 2008. It was one of those 2 years. And yeah, wrecked my car, and you know, those stupid sons of bitches went 5 and 8 anyways at Historicon, so that's what they get. But yeah, they got damaged pretty bad. But I use epoxy, so none of the figures came off the stands. But some didn't get damaged at all, and some did. And that was using them on a magnetized tray, So, well, unfortunately, I've got to go pick up. I've got to go pick up the daughter. Well, not unfortunately. I don't want her to spend the night there. at the park. That's not cool. But not sure if I'll be on later tonight, but I may be. If I'm awake, I'll certainly will be. But anyhow, thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you guys next time. If you haven't seen the pachyderm pandemic that we did yesterday, check that out. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye bye.